Welcome into Simply the Bets. Brought to you by the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Glenn Clark, Griffin Bass with you. Apologies running a couple of minutes late today. We had to move some things around. But we're going to get you ready for the week that is in sports betting. If there's one rule that you know in sports betting, it's bet the Ravens to win their preseason football games. Because it's all they ever do. We'll talk about that. This baseball slate coming up here on Simply the Bets. A little bit later on, we will head to the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Our buddy Leon Twyman is the general manager of the Fanduel Sportsbook. We will check in with him. But before we do that, we got to head out to Vegas. That's where we find our friend Aaron Oster from VSiN, who is with us now here on Simply the Bets. What's going on, pal? How are you?
I'm doing well, just, gearing up for football season. Can you smell it, Glenn?
I am. By the way, I'm assuming that you did you include the Ravens in any of your 5 Ls for the week?
Oh, you know it.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right. Then I'll save that. I'll save that thought. I will save that thought because I know what you're going to say. I'll wait, and we'll bring it up then. Mostly futures bets for you last week. The only one that you took, you missed. So you hit zero last week. What a wretched, awful week it was for you, as you had Corbin Burns over 8.5 strikeouts as your love. Tough to lose a love bet, man. That is a tough thing to lose.
Yeah, it's tough, but you know what? Football's here. Baseball, I'm putting down, even though I do have a baseball for my love again. But, I'm looking to the future. We look to the future.
I understand. By the way, can I tell you about so I made a bet last night that involved Adley Rutschman's total bases, and it was over 1.5 was the bet that I made. And I know, because I've done this for a very long time, that walks don't count as total bases, right?
Correct.
But last night, like an idiot, I just forgot that. So Adley Rutschman gets his second walk of the game, and I'm like, hell yeah! I mean, I audibly make a noise that, my wife is like, what? Like, she's yelling down from upstairs. She's like, what the hell happened? I'm like, sorry, baby. Sorry. Just excited because I won my bet. And then I punch it up. I'm like, let's see my money. I'm like, where's my money? Where is it?
Womp womp.
And I'm like, oh, crap. Oh, it's that scene from a Christmas Story. Only I didn't say fudge. I am a very stupid person, and I completely forgot that total bases are only for hits. Only for hits.
Yes. So only for hits.
That was a loser for your boy last night. All right, let's get into 5 Ls for sports betting this week. Of course, Aaron gives us a local, a long-term, a long shot, a loser, and a lovable bet for the week. We begin locally, and is this where we find your Baltimore Ravens bets?
Yes, let's get into this conversation right here when it comes to betting preseason football. And I want to preface it with this. It's a little bit crazy to bet preseason.
Yes, you have to be a little deranged in order to participate in this exercise.
Absolutely. I highly recommend, if you are betting preseason for whatever reason, maybe you just feel like it because, oh my God, it's football and I got to place a bet down maybe. I recommend lowering your units a little bit for preseason. If you're normally doing a $50 bet, maybe only do a $25 bet, something like that. Because it's preseason, anything can happen. And when it comes down to it, you're betting on people who very likely won't be in the league next month.
Correct.
However, having said that, there are angles to play.
There is one sure thing. There is one sure thing.
Before I get to that, there are some other angles.
All right.
Something like, look, we saw it in the Hall of Fame game last week. If there's a backup quarterback battle and you can pretty much guarantee that a solid NFL player is going to be at quarterback the entire game, like we saw with the Raiders, it's a pretty good angle to play in preseason. Just looking at those competitions,
By the way, how dare you disparage Jake Luton, by the way? How dare you, sir? How dare you? The greatness of Jake Luton being disparaged by the likes of you. What have you accomplished in your NFL career exactly?
Not betting on Jake Luton.
Oh, that's probably smart. All right. By the way, Griffin too got in a bet on the Raiders last week. So I don't know, but he was what Griffin was playing though. He was playing the fact that the Raiders were 3-0 all time in the Hall of Fame game. That was legitimately
make that 4-0.
Probably the Josh McDaniels
Canton, Ohio hometown.
Yeah,
exactly.
correct.
You have that angle too. So as I said, you can find angles in these games, and if you can, angles are always good to play. Money is money. It doesn't matter if you're betting on the Super Bowl or the preseason. A win's a win, but maybe just take it a little lower. That being said, there is one angle that has always come through for us over the past 7 years. The Baltimore Ravens have won 20 straight preseason games.
It's what they do.
They have covered every preseason game they have played since 2015.
Now, now wait a second, Aaron, because this goes back to something that we have to talk about in betting, right? Norm Macdonald wrote about this in his book recently. Or not, he didn't write it in his book. Oh, God. Clearly, he didn't write it recently. I was reading it recently. I finally Patrick Stevens gave me his copy of Norm Macdonald's book so I could read it. And oftentimes, we make this comparison that someone is due, right? Like, that's what we say. Yeah. If you flip a coin 50 times and it's heads all 50 times, then what are the odds on the next one? It's still 50-50, right? Like, 50-50. It's still 50-50 on the next one.
Yep, it's called the gambler's fallacy there.
People talk about something being due. Well, they're due to lose one, right? Like, that's something that we say. The Ravens are due to lose one. But is that real or not?
Is it possible they'll lose? Sure. It's always possible they'll lose. But that being said, like, it's gotten to a point where part of this does factor into the trends. Harbaugh tries to win these games. A lot of coaches don't. They just see it. Harbaugh, he may not play all of his starters and stuff, but he's actually actively coaching and trying to win into the fourth quarter. You don't see situations where he's just, hey, go out there, throw the ball around, go 3-and-out, punt. He's calling his plays, or not necessarily calling his plays, but he's trying to win. We've seen this. He clearly wants to win. And so, no, nothing's a guarantee. It's something that I am going to bet blindly until it stops happening. Sometimes you go the other way. While, yes, somebody's due, sometimes it's just, this is something that's happening, and I'm going to catch that ride until it proves otherwise, and that's the case here. And it's 3.5, so I'm taking the Ravens minus 3.5.
Obviously, I completely agree with that decision-making. And the other thing, too, this goes into my sort of generic thoughts about preseason football. It does seem like when the team is at home, there is some thought to maybe put a player in for a little bit longer that maybe would like that there might be a little bit more involved just because, hey, we're making people pay money for these tickets. Like, we should at least do something to give them a bit of entertainment value, which guarantees nothing, right? Like, it doesn't guarantee anything, but it just feels like that maybe it inspires something a bit more when it comes to these preseason football games.
Absolutely. I haven't seen the numbers to see if that backs it up, but the logic is absolutely sound there.
All right. Next one. Let's go long shot. Give me an underdog that you love this week.
Oh, we're going to long shot here.
Yeah, so, I know. I mix these up sometimes.
Yeah, it's okay. I was coming in, and last night I was going to talk about Romeo Doubs and the Rookie of the Year, but that's not really a long shot anymore. That in a week has gone from about 100 to 1 to 20 to 1.
What?
So, yeah, it's all of the juices on Green Bay Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs.
Wow.
So not even really a long shot anymore. So I'm going to move past that one. But just something to note that everybody with all of the highlight reels are talking about Romeo Doubs.
I want to make this very clear. I'm still not moving him ahead of Sky Moore for me. Like, I'm still not doing it. I get it, but I'm not putting him ahead of Sky Moore on my list.
And nor should you necessarily. He's still Sky Moore still 10 to 1. Romeo Doubs only 20 to 1. But I will go with a real long shot here, and then I'm looking at the Heisman Trophy, and I want to talk about Ohio State wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's currently 50 to 1 to win the Heisman. He had 1,600 yards receiving last year, coming off of a Rose Bowl where he put up 347 yards against Utah. And the reason I particularly like him is Ohio State's first game. In Week 1, they face Notre Dame, 7:30. It'll have all the focus of Week 1. Everyone's going to watch it. And Notre Dame has a dreadful secondary. If on Week 1, on one of the national championship favorites, Ohio State and Alabama are two, you see Jackson Smith-Njigba put up 250 yards, 3 touchdowns in Week 1, well, he vaults right into the spotlight on the Heisman race. And when it comes to these high-profile teams, if you can jump out early, if you can get that spotlight, that means people will start talking about you. No one else is really – not no one else is going to have. Obviously, there's Alabama, Texas the week, but there's very few in September really high-profile games. So if you can get that buzz going, that means for the next 2 months until we really get into conference play, really get into it, all you're going to be hearing is, can Jackson Smith-Njigba win the Heisman? Can he put up these numbers? Can he, do what Devon Smith did and be a wide receiver to win it? You're going to get this buzz, and buzz equals eventually looking at it and figuring out if you can actually win it. So at 50-1 with this, I really like that.
So I like that. What you're saying is I don't like the chances of a non-quarterback winning the Heisman. I'm just, I get it. As you point out, it did happen with Devontae Smith. Obviously, that was a very weird year with COVID, and I have no idea what to make of that. But in general, I don't like the chances. I certainly understand that what you're saying is it's an odds play, right? That like right now where Smith-Njigba's odds are will not be where his odds are should he have a monster start. It's very difficult for me to fathom a year in which Smith-Njigba has a huge season and C.J. Stroud doesn't win the Heisman Trophy, though. You know what I mean? Like
but see, this is the one specific way, because if he's the star of that Week 1 game and not C.J. Stroud, if Stroud throws for 400 and Smith-Njigba gets 250 of it, that's where it comes.
I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah. I just feel like with the hype in the preseason already being on Stroud, like it's almost like he has to lose it somehow, and it's hard for me to imagine him losing it. And Smith, you know what I mean? Like that's the tricky part. Yep. It would almost to me have to involve
100.
It would have to involve an injury, I think, in order for that to be the case. But I get it. I get that it's an odds play. All right, to your long term. Give me the futures bet that you like this week.
So I was going around. I wanted to give something a little different, so I was kind of digging around in the season props market. And the whole market for season-long props in the NFL is interesting because it really skews to the under. Someone recently, I can't remember off the top of my head who it was, but one of the fantasy and gambling analysts did a study and showed that in a large sampling, I believe it was 240 player props last year, 66% of them went to the under. And the reasoning's obvious. You have injuries on players, other players on the team, which leads to the loss of the offense. You have a general inflation of what the line should be. Because everyone, when they're looking at this, it's much easier to identify a play you like versus a play you don't like.
Okay.
So a lot of people playing the over. So I was looking specifically, okay, what under can I play here? And one kind of jumped out to me, and it's David Montgomery. His rushing yards are set at 825.5, which admittedly is a little bit lower than I expected. I thought that would be a little bit closer to 900. But last year he had 849 rushing yards in 13 games played. And when you dive into his analytics, he looks even worse. He had a big nosedive in pretty much every category, including broken tackles, which had been his calling card for the first 2 seasons. And on top of that, Khalil Herbert looked really, really good last year.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
And there's a new regime, obviously, no ties to Montgomery. And you also have the possibility of the Bears' offense being terrible and defenses just completely stacking the box. So I just don't see much from Montgomery, which kind of pains me because I really like David Montgomery coming out of the draft. So I'm going to fade him, and I'm going to take the under of 825.5 rushing yards.
I like the bet. They also, there's the likelihood they fall behind in a lot of games, and they're not able to run the ball. I mean, I get that the number is low. It is a low number, especially in a 17-game season. But boy, the reasoning is sound. I do like that bet. I'm with you on that one. All right, Aaron Oster is with us from VSiN out in Vegas, giving us his 5 L's. So now we need a loser. We need the one that you say, no matter what you do anything at all, stand on your head for 6 hours, lock yourself in your room to prevent yourself from getting to the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland in order to make this bet.
If you find yourself going to the betting window, going to the kiosk, going to the, whatever you want to do, and trying to place a positive bet on the New England Patriots right now,
ooh,
you need to lock yourself away.
Okay.
Because they are a disaster right now in training camp. And it's beyond players. It's beyond anything, which, by the way, they still have a pretty duress talent right now, I feel like. They don't have anybody who you really would say, oh, that's the guy who's going to get it out. But it's the coaching. You look at the reports from yesterday where they can't run plays. They're having false starts. They're having, illegal procedures. Mac Jones, apparently, I've heard the term seeing ghosts out there because they can't get the play calls in. They're installing a new run scheme, which isn't working well and is not playing to the strength of the players. And so right now, I can't give you any reasons why you should play the over 8.5 wins. I can't give you any reasons why you should play them to make the playoffs at plus 160. I can't give you a reason for them to win the AFC East. That being said, obviously, look, it's Belichick. We've seen him pull rabbits out of his hat before. He could pull off a miracle. He could get everything settled down with one deft move right before the season starts. But right now, which is why I'm not putting like the under 8.5 in my long-term play. But right now, I think you're crazy if you're playing anything positive on the Patriots.
So you're saying don't bet them to hit the over 8.5 wins, and definitely don't bet them to win the division. Definitely don't bet them to, which I don't think a lot of people.
Playoffs.
I don't think a lot of people are going to bet them to win the division anyway, because Josh Allen didn't perish.
Yes, mainly but I have heard people be like, oh look, 8.5 wins. Or, 9
I get that.
wins, maybe they can sneak into the playoffs.
Right.
Don't play.
Right. All right. So don't. What do you say? The loser bets are over 8.5 wins and making the playoffs for the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Avoid.
Yeah, and that's plus 160 for them to make the playoffs.
And then the one that you love, the one that you say, don't lock yourself in your room. Get to the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland and demand. Walk up to the first person that you see and throw money at them and say, this is the bet I want to make is...
I did have to give something that you could cash in quickly without a long-term wait. And I'm looking at the Phillies-Marlins game today. Phillies have been one of the hottest teams in baseball coming out of the All-Star break, while the Marlins bats have absolutely disappeared. Marlins are 27th since the break in batting average, last in weighted OBA, and last in weighted runs created plus. Meanwhile, the Phillies absolutely matched lefties with their top 5 in batting average and OPS. And just so happens that the Marlins are sending a lefty to the mound. In Braxton Garrett today. I think there are actually a few ways you could play this game, and if you can find a first 5 run line of a half run, I kind of like that. Right now, Fanduel is offering the first 5 run line as a 1.5, so don't like that quite as much. So I will take this on the full game run line. Phillies minus 1.5 at minus 122.
All right. I'm not going to argue with that whatsoever. Very good. Those are the bets for this week. Remind everybody of what's going on at VSiN.
Well, right now, our college football guide, we have full breakdowns of every single team in Division I football, as well as conference plays, win total plays, plays to make the college football playoff. Everything you could possibly want as a college football gambler, you can find that on VSiN.com. And in a few short weeks, our NFL guide will be coming out as well.
Awesome. Aaron Oster at the Oster on Twitter. Appreciate you, pal. We'll talk to you next Tuesday, all right?
Hope everyone hits their best.
It's Aaron Oster checking in from VSiN out in Vegas on Simply the Bets. When we come back in, we will head down to the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Leon Twyman, General Manager of the Fanduel Sportsbook, will join us next. Glenn Clark Radio. Sorry, no, it's Simply the Bets. Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new Fanduel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The biggest pro wrestling stars today and all time all have one thing in common. You've heard them on Jobbing Out.
Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks.
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
The great Kurt Angle.
Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man.
The champ, Drew McIntyre.
Oh, thank you for having me.
The great Ron Simmons.
Damn.
Keith Lee.
Appreciate you guys having me, man.
Bill Goldberg.
My pleasure.
Charlotte.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mick Foley is with us.
This is the greatest name for a wrestling show I've ever heard.
MJF.
I'm glad you're happy I'm on this show because I'm freaking miserable.
Le
champion!
Chris Jericho.
Le champion.
AJ, Aaron, Brandon, and Glenn are talking pro wrestling every week on Jobbing Out. Find it at PressBoxOnline.com/radio, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Costas Inn has upped their game. They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now, and it's our very first Salute the Coaches issue. On the cover, we recognize Ravens coach John Harbaugh ahead of his 15th season. Also inside, find tributes to Navy football coach Ken Niumatalolo, UMBC soccer coach Pete Caringi, Maryland soccer coach Sasho Sorovsky, and field hockey coach Missy Maharg, Mount St. Joe basketball coach Pat Clatchy, and Poly basketball coach Kendall Peace. We also honor recently retired Johns Hopkins lacrosse coach Janine Tucker and Calvert Hall baseball coach Lou Eckerl, the athletes whose lives these coaches have impacted, offering insights on what makes them special and why they've stood the test of time. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
To follow the show on Instagram, it's just Glenn Clark Radio. And to follow the show on OnlyFans, wait, I don't think you're supposed to know about that one. Any hoodle. Take it away, boys.
All right, back in here on Simply the Bets, brought to you by the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Again, preseason football this week, as we were talking about with Aaron just a minute ago. The Ravens, you're not surprised, favored to win, and again have covered 20 straight times in the preseason. Whatever you think that means is whatever you think that means. Some of you might say, yeah, they're, something, I don't know what that might mean. I have no clue. But they are minus 170 on the money line. They are minus 3.5 on the spread against the Titans on Thursday night. And you can bet that right now in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. And let's head there where our friend Leon Twyman, the general manager of the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, is standing by. Leon, good morning, my friend. How are you? Oh, Leon, can you hear me all right?
Yep, I can hear you.
Awesome, man. Great to hear from you. I was joking with Ryan last week. I'm guessing you guys probably had a crowd for the silly Hall of Fame game. Am I right to say that people are so excited about betting on football that you even had people out there to watch Jake Luton take on Jarrett Stidham last Thursday night?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're just wanting any type of football action right now.
It's insane. So Thursday night, the Ravens play their first preseason game. And as I was just talking about, the Ravens in the preseason, about as close to a sure thing as you can get in football. You guys, there are sorts of all kinds of bets that are available. One of the things that Griffin and I were noticing, and I don't know if this is something that's going to continue, we saw last week they were drive results were popping up as a potential bet that you can make. Is that something that's coming for the FanDuel Sportsbook that you can bet, when a drive begins, on what the result of the drive is going to be?
Yes, so I do know that I believe we did have that last season. So that definitely should be something that we're doing this season as well.
That's awesome. Especially as you've been talking about. Do we know? Are we? How much closer are we to the bet pads?
It looks like we should be launching in 2 weeks from today.
Oh, so let me get this straight. I can come in there for a football game. I get my bet pad, and I can just sit there. I don't have to get up. I don't have to wait in line. I don't have to do any of those things. Every time a drive begins during the course of a football game, I can bet what's going to happen on that drive immediately right there as I'm sitting on my keister devouring food in the FanDuel Sportsbook.
That is correct. You don't even have to move from your seat.
Yo. Hey, come on, dude. This is insane. That's amazing. I am so bloody excited about that. What a cool. Are there other things that might be coming as far as types of bets that are available? I know we're getting to a place where we're going to be so hyper focused that you might at some point in the future be able to bet the result of every play that happens in the course of a game. I know we're not there yet, but are you seeing other new types of bets that are popping up, whether it's football or other sports, that you're like, holy crap? I mean, there really are just never-ending amounts of things that are available as far as in-game betting are concerned.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that slowly pop up, and it's crazy because there's so many markets to bet on, as you know. There's just hundreds of selections. So it's really hard sometimes to really keep an eye on those. sometimes even I get surprised. I'll have a guest come up to me and say, "Hey, man, can you help me find this market?" And I'm scratching my head like, do we have that? And I go out, and I'm looking on the kiosk, and I'm like, wow, we do have that.
Wow.
So
man.
there's going to be a lot there, but I can tell you firsthand the drives. That's one of my favorite things to bet. I can't bet with Fanduel because I work with Fanduel,
Right.
but when I utilize other sports books, that's one thing that I go for just because it's like instant money.
No, I mean, it's perfect. This is what bettors crave, is immediate action. Give me action as quickly as particularly when we've lost something, particularly when the last one didn't go so well for us, and we're trying to get our money back about as quickly as possible. Leon, so it's been a couple weeks since we chatted with you. Give me a big winner and maybe a big heartbreak that you've seen in the last couple of weeks.
Big winner. So this is actually interesting too. So the next time you come in here, you'll see this. So on our promo board, we are now putting up big winners.
Oh, nice. So
if we have a big winner, we scan these tickets, we send it off to FanDuel, and they actually upload this on our promo board for everyone to see. So we just had a big winner. It was a $20 parlay, all baseball. So everything was plus money on it, 7 legs. And I will say even the Orioles were on there for the win.
Wow.
Plus on there. But $20 to win $24,000.
Nice. That was a $20 bet. By the way, that's ballsy going with 7 plus money bets on a $20 parlay, right? And I'm going to guess that's probably somebody. And whenever these stories come up, I'm like, this has to be someone who plays a lot of parlays, right? Like this has to be someone who dips their toe in the water on a bunch of different things. Because if you just walked in and you picked 7 plus money outcomes and put them on a parlay, and that's the only bet you made all night, you're the single luckiest human being that's ever lived, like in the history of the world, if that's the case. Yeah. So I got to believe it's somebody who makes a lot of parlay bets.
Now, I will tell you as well, the max payout of that ticket was $31,000. So there was a push somewhere, and they still got lucky and still got 24.
Wow, that is remarkable. It is weird how, despite like the fact that the Orioles, and I get it tonight because Manoah's on the mound for the Blue Jays, so I actually understand the odds tonight. But I've brought this up a couple times, like when they were in Texas last week. The Rangers stink. And despite the fact that the Orioles have had the best record in the American League since June, I mean, even better than the Yankees, who are the second best team in baseball, it still seems like, not just FanDuel, like everyone has still been reluctant to buy into what it is the Orioles are doing. The odds have still seemed to be against the Orioles most nights, despite how well they've played.
Yes. It's crazy.
It's an opportunity, perhaps, that exists for Orioles fans to maybe be making a little bit of money, if you believe. I would not do it tonight, though. I'm just telling you straight up. Kyle Bradish versus Alek Manoah, I would not be betting. Trust me, I believe in the Orioles. I think that they're doing something special, but I would choose not to bet them with the plus 1.5 this evening. Leon Twyman, general manager of the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Did you have one that maybe caused some heartbreak? Was there one that you could think of more recently that, like, somebody hit like 5 of 7 legs or something like that was heartbreaking?
Oh yeah, that happens quite frequently. We actually had a guy. He comes up all the time. He's a very very nice guy. He's here pretty much every single day, and he came up with, it was all baseball parlay, of course, and it was 12 legs, and he hit 10 of the 12 legs.
Oh, God. Do you remember what type of money was at stake?
He had $100 on it, so it would have been a ridiculous payout.
yeah. With a 12-leg, I mean, that might have been like 6 figures, right? Like that might have been a. Oh.
It'd have been up there for sure.
Oh my! Oh, that is heartbreaking. And then what about what's been the most random one that you've seen come in recently? What's been the one that you've seen where you're like, really? Like that? I'm taking a ticket on this? What's the one that's been the most bizarre?
Let's go with $500 on Vikings to win the Super Bowl.
What? What?
That's 40 to 1.
Look, man, I you know what? Okay, so I'm sure you get this a lot. I understand that sometimes if you're the fan of a team, you just want to have that ticket every year, right? Like every year you want to have a ticket for your team to win the Super Bowl because you're rooting for it anyway, right? Like, and in fact, this was brought up to me recently. Like, and I don't have the numbers in front of me. We actually did a segment about it. Oh, this is good. I'll run this by you. If you were an Orioles fan who put a ticket in for the Orioles to win the World Series before the season began, right? I don't remember what it was, but it was astronomical odds. It was like 1,000 to 1. It was something along those lines. And you put in a $10 ticket on that just because you're a fan. I would think that at some point you could sell that ticket and make not a lot of profit. Like, I don't think somebody yet is going to give you a ton of money for it, but you could probably sell that $10 ticket for what, $100, something like that. I think somebody would maybe be willing to buy it at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
You're a fan. Do you do it, or do you let it ride? What say you, Leon?
So if it's me, I'm letting it ride.
To me, I think that's the answer. Like, until the number is so, like, if somebody comes up to me and says, all right, I'll give you $1,000 for that ticket. Okay, I'm probably going to let you have that ticket at that point, right? Like, I don't think the Orioles are winning the World Series, and I got a chance to walk out with $1,000. But $100 when it was a $10 throwaway ticket, when it was just something I was doing for fun, why the hell not, man? Let the fun continue, right?
Right.
I'm certain that I'm not cashing it. I'm certain the Orioles aren't winning the World Series, but am I? Am I certain of that? I don't know. Let's let it live. Let's let it roll for a little while. Let's have some fun with it. I'm in agreement. What else is going on in your world? What else is going on down at the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino in Hotel Maryland?
So I don't know if you remember the old bowling alley.
Yes, that's right. You guys are moving some of the machines over there, right?
So we made that move. We have 13 of our 61 kiosks located inside that now. So it's really nice. Nice carpet, nice little area in there. Has 4 TVs. So that's actually a really nice addition that we have going on. And then also the SNS wall that is made out of baseballs, that actually is coming down right now. They started construction today. It's going to take a couple of weeks, but that's going to be a large LED screen like what we have on our video wall.
Nice.
And that's going to be where we're going to post all of our odds at.
Nice. I like that. And by the way, keep in mind, one of the cool things is that prevents some of like the bunching that would happen over at the kiosk machines when there would be a long line. You guys can spread them out a little bit more so people can access them more freely. And then I would imagine that when you add the bet pads too, like you're going to get to a point where there almost might not be lines. With 61 self-service kiosks, the betting windows, and these bet pads, like I feel like we're not going to be that far away from the place where there, even for the busiest games, there really won't be that much in the way of lines.
You know, it's crazy. I'm expecting long lines. As you know, we are number 1 in the state of Maryland, so everyone wants to come here. So, you know, even with 61 kiosks, 10 windows, and 20 bet pads, I feel like they're going to want more.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. That number will probably have, especially as we get into football season. Jeez, we get into football season. I keep trying to tell people, Leon, it's the place to be for your fantasy drafts. That first Saturday of college football season, oh my God, be in the Fanduel Sportsbook, do your fantasy draft there, because you can watch and bet on all the college football games that are happening and have that delicious food from Sports and Social. Events at sportssocialmd.com is the email address to let them know you want to come. And then I think that it's like making plans for football season, right? Like where are you going to be for Ravens games? Where are you going to be for Monday night games? For Thursday night games, which are no longer technically on TV, that you can only watch. I mean, I get it. Most people have smart TVs now, but I live in a rural area where we don't have reliable internet. Just be in the Fanduel Sportsbook instead to watch Thursday night games and bet on them. It seems like a simple idea, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. It is.
Get that happen. Make that happen. All right, Leon, appreciate you, brother. We will talk to you next Tuesday. Thank you as always, my friends.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Leon Twyman, general manager of the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino Hotel Maryland. Okay, we wind down for this week's episode of Simply the Bets. Let's get our tidbit of the week. Griffin, what did you find for us?
All right, I have a couple
Oh, hello.
as usual.
Okay.
All right, here we go. I'm going to pull it up here. All right, so had a fun one from Sunday. This is my favorite baseball bet. So someone did a 9-leg parlay on no-run first innings for Sunday's games. So it's not even like they were like you always assume people are just they do a ton of parlays. I mean, this guy just picked 9 games. Like there were 15 games on Sunday, and he picked the 9 that he thought wouldn't have a run scored in the first inning, and he hit on all 9.
Okay.
So it was a 340-1 parlay, and he put $50 on it, paid out $17,000.
Jeez.
No
Again,
run first inning.
I have to assume that's somebody who's making a lot of. I can't imagine that's just somebody who crafted that at home and walked in and was like, this is my way. I don't know.
I imagine it is somebody that's looking at it. They're like, starting pitcher. It was Jesus Luzardo's pitching for the Marlins. He doesn't let up runs in the first inning.
I don't know.
That's how I choose to look at it, because that is how I try to think. I try to outsmart everything.
Okay.
And if I'm gonna put together 9-leg no-run first inning, I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it.
Look, it's a hell of a thought, right? It's a hell of a thought to say, let's just see. Let's just run it out there. I get it. It's plausible that something like that could happen, but all it takes is one to ruin your day.
Had a fun Hall of Fame game bet. Someone live bet the Jags on Thursday. They took the Jags late in the fourth quarter at plus 23.5 after the Raiders were up 27-3, and they got that at plus odds too. So plus 285 for the Jags to cover plus 23.5. They were losing by 24 at the time. And the Jags did end up scoring a touchdown at the end there, so the game ended 27-11, and they turned $250 into $1,000.
Okay, I mean, if you're willing to make $250, bet $250. There's a lot of things because like 4-1 odds are not all that astronomical. I mean, I get that you don't see them before a game starts. You don't see 4-1 odds.
It was a slow week in betting that I noticed. I couldn't find a ton. And finally, the one I have, people are already placing their NBA MVP bets.
Okay.
So if you had to put one down, who would you be picking for your NBA MVP?
If I had to put a bet down, Giannis.
Okay, that's a good pick. Not what this guy went with. He decided to put $200 down on.
I mean, I guess Luka would be it'd be okay.
Yeah, they're smart. There's several options.
I would go Giannis. I'm trying to think of what the odds must be for next year. Hang on a second. Hang on. Can you pull up the odds?
Mm-hmm.
Pull up what the odds for next year's NBA MVP are, if they're available. Which I assume they are, but I don't know that.
I would think they have to be. Yeah. Here. Okay. I have them.
You have them. Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Luka's the favorite.
He is plus 460.
Okay. I'm gonna say Giannis is next.
He is third.
That means second is either Jokic or Embiid.
Those guys are 2 and 4.
Yokic.
Embiid is second, plus 550. Giannis 650, and then Jokic plus 1,000. So those would all be really good bets. If you want to put $200 down on somebody to win the MVP. So somebody did not.
It wasn't one of these.
No,
one of those guys.
Someone put $200 down on Rudy Gobert at 750-1. So if he does somehow pull that off, it would be a $150,000 payout.
I mean, it would be a hell of a bet to have made. Maybe it's somebody. Maybe it's Mrs. Gobert who made that bet. I don't know. Mama Gobert.
I mean,
who put that bet in? That is an odd bet to be making. That is
yes, I have to agree.
I was gonna say there's probably room in there to put in a Steph Curry bet and make some money because he is Steph Curry after all. I'm not sure if people are familiar.
Well, Zion's on there. Tyler Hero, Cade Cunningham, they have better odds than Gobert.
I mean, I get it.
John Wall. I mean,
because the MVP it's such a scoring thing. Like
right.
Rudy Gobert does a lot of really good things. Rudy Gobert is a hell of a player.
He is never gonna win. I mean, I don't even see him here on FanDuel, so I'm not.
MVP has to be a Rudy Gobert. I'm trying to think of. What do you think Rudy Gobert?
I mean, maybe if he rebounds,
what do you think
he gets 30 rebounds a game.
I mean, it would take something like that. What do you think he averaged scoring-wise this season ago?
Probably 14 points.
Yeah, it was right. That's what I was thinking, too. It was 15.6 was the number. Which, again, he had a damn good season. 15.6 points, 14.7 rebounds per game. That's a hell of a player doing something like
15 guy every night.
But MVP uniquely has always been a scorer. Like a real scorer. Even when Jokic wins it. What did Jokic?
Yeah. He probably had 25, 26.
Probably in the neighborhood of 30, yeah.
27
Jokic was 27.1. Exactly right. You got to be a scorer
in
order to win it.
You got to be able to drop 30 on any given night.
Exactly right. All right, that it?
That is it. That
Good
is all
stuff.
I have today.
Thank you. Thank you to Aaron. Thank you to Leon. And we will not be. Wait, will we be back this? Did we do?
No, we did Weekend at Bookies last
So
Thursday.
not this week. The
No.
following Thursday for Weekend at Bookies. We'll be back next Tuesday for the next Simply the Bets. In the meantime, get down to the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland for all of your betting needs. May the odds be ever in your favor.